أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وعجل فرجهم يا كريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله. Peace and blessings be upon you, Ya Rasulullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Mawlai. وابن مولاي يا حبيب الله. Peace and blessings be upon you, O beloved of Allah, O messenger of Allah. Sallallahu alayka ya Mawlai, وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. Peace and blessings be upon you, O my master and the son of my master, Abi Abdullah al-Husayn. Sallallahu alayk. Ya Sayyidi wa ya Mawlai. يا ذخري وذخيرتي في آخرتي ودنياي شفيعي يوم الدين قائد الغر المحجلين إلى جنات النعيم. Peace and blessings be upon you, my master Amir al-Mu'mineen, my hope in this world and the hereafter, my interceder between me and Allah, the leader to heaven, the true path of Allah, مولاي ومولى المؤمنين جميعا سيدي علي بن أبي طالب ورحمة الله وبركاته. My master Ali ibn Abi Talib and the master of all human beings and all of creation, Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Rahimallah, من رفع صوته بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Let's have another one for the love of Sayyidah Zahra alayha salam. Allahumma salli. And the last one for Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, whose day is today, Friday, in your loudest voices. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. May Allah bless you and accept your a'mal, accept your fasting, accept your salat, and ultimately make us from those who benefit from this month. بحق محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد. Before we begin with the discussion, I want to just make an announcement, my brothers and sisters. Today at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, so in our time zone, we're going to be having, Mainstay is going to be having a discussion with all of the respected speakers that they had in this month. My good friends and people that I hold very highly personally myself, and people that I can vouch for. I say this so I can tell you, my brothers and sisters, they are people that I personally vouch for and people that I personally benefit very, very much from, we're going to be sitting, inshallah, together and having this discussion, question answer session, reflection session in a way. At 6:30, bi'awnillah ta'ala, join us. If you have any questions, you can ask. If there's anything that I said that bothered you, you can take it out on me, inshallah, there. But inshallah ta'ala, hopefully nothing bothered you. Regardless, you can ask your questions and we can, be there for an interactive discussion, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. Yesterday, my brothers and sisters, we spoke about moon sighting. And although the day before was more or less focusing on the general idea of moon sighting and the fundamentals behind it, yesterday we were more or less discussing the history of the opinions, why there's a difference of opinion and where it comes from. As in, if all the hadith are clear about how to distinguish the first of the month from the second of the month, the day of Eid from the 30th of Shahr Ramadan, if these methods are clear in the hadith, why is there such a difference of opinion? And we said the difference of opinion sprouts primarily from the idea of the horizon, whether the horizon is large in diameter or it's more confined, and every area of the globe has its own specific horizon, and not that the horizon is for a huge portion of the earth altogether. We said that the more famous idea was that of Sayyid Sistani, his current theory and his current opinion of Ta'addud al-Ufuq, where he believes that every area of the earth has its own respective horizon, as opposed to his teacher, Sayyid al-Khou'i, who made the idea of Wahdat al-Ufuq famous, and it is the more famous and accepted theory today from most of our maraja. They more or less have this theory or a version of it where they believe, or he came forward and proposed, that the horizon is much greater, much larger, and two places that share the same night, even a small portion of the night, ultimately will have one horizon. Other ulama came and tweaked this idea a little bit. For example, Sheikh Wahid al-Khurasani said not some of the night, for most of the night. Sheikh Bashir Najafi said, if it's seen anywhere on earth, it's Eid for everywhere on earth, right? Sayyid al-Hakim came forward and said there's a difference between the western hemisphere of the earth and eastern hemisphere of the earth, etc., etc., etc. So we find that this is the main difference between the ulama. And when you see one marja saying this day is Eid, another marja saying for your specific situation you must wait an extra day, the difference of opinion comes here. The difference of opinion does not come about whether you're allowed to use this method or that method for knowing when the moon is born, or when the first day or the second day or the 30th day of the month is. Rather, the method is clear, but implementation of that method is where the discussion comes about. Jamil. This is what we discussed yesterday. On the issue of marja'iyya, my brothers and sisters, on the issue of marja'iyya, we're going to segue into a topic that I want to leave to the end, and more or less I think it's very important to leave it to the end, because sometimes you find that brothers and sisters tune in at the end, or the last lectures are where you get most people coming and tuning in and trying to see what is this Ahmad Bazzi guy about. So more or less the more important topic, the most important topic, one of the most important topics I want to leave to the end, and this is more or less why I'm having this discussion today, about marja'iyya. More or less, the question that poses itself amongst youth is, and amongst elders as well, is why do we have marja'iyya in the beginning? As in, if there's so much difference of opinion, why is marja'iyya the method that we choose? Why is it that the Shi'as have the concept of marja'iyya altogether? As in, if you go to our Sunni brothers and sisters, you find that they have 4 madhahib. They have 4 schools of thought. They don't have 15 different maraja at every given point in time. Rather, they have 4 schools of thought. Those 4 schools of thought have been around for hundreds of years. And those are the 4 schools of thought that they follow. You're either a Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, or Hanafi. You're one of the 4. You're one of the 4. And that's it. When you come to Shia Islam, no, you have at any given point in time, you have more than 5 or 6 different maraja living at the same time. And fast forward 100 years, 150 years, you have another 5 or 6 or 7 different maraja living at the same time. And aside from the maraja that are there being followed by the people, there could be tens, if not hundreds of different mujtahideen, those that have reached the level of ijtihad, where they are able to form their opinion. And so you find the world of jurisprudence is very open within the Shia school of thought. And marja'iyya is the fundamental idea that, or the fundamental, more or less the fundamental method, fundamental system that Islamic jurisprudence in the Shia sect is based on. So the question comes and begs itself, why do you have marja'iyya in the first place? What is the proof for marja'iyya? Why, as Shias, did we follow this method? Is there an alternative method? Is there an alternative method that means you can use a better method? Or is marja'iyya the best method that is used in the time of ghaiba, that we have in the time of ghaiba? And at the time of the Imams, was this idea proposed? And after the coming of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, Ajjalallah ta'ala faraj al-Sharif, is this idea of marja'iyya, the system of marja'iyya, totally abolished? Or will we find some fragments of it even in the time of Sahib al-Amri wa Zaman? These are the questions that we want to answer today, inshallah ta'ala, because the discussion of marja'iyya is crucial, especially for those living in the West, where we ourselves feel that we are living in a society, in an environment that is non-Islamic, that respects our rights as Muslims, but does not provide us with an Islamic environment for our children and for ourselves to thrive in. And so we seek leadership in those that are living in the East, in our maraja, hafidhahumullah jami'an. So for us as Westerners to understand and be rooted in the idea of marja'iyya, have a clear understanding of it, serves us extremely well. And not just serves us well, is, in my personal opinion, and I believe many of the ulama and many of the speakers will agree with me, it's the first stepping stone towards advancement, our advancement as an Islamic society, as a minority in the West. Holding on to our maraja is the first step towards progression in the West. Why? We'll discuss, inshallah ta'ala. If not here, then in the reflections discussion that we are have, inshallah, we will speak about that, bi'awnillah ta'ala. So let's begin. When you come to the Hawza, what is the proof that our ulama give for the concept of marja'iyya and the system of marja'iyya? What's the proof for it? Why is it the method that we use? Is there an alternative method? When you come to the Hawza, they'll present it to you first and foremost through logic, through a logical means. And then after we've proved it through logical means, we'll go to some of the ahadith. First and foremost, the logical proof for marja'iyya. We will present it, inshallah. But before it, we need a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jameel. Whenever you're presenting a logical proof, the best method to follow, and as I said, my brothers and sisters, in these lectures, we're not only discussing the topic itself, we're discussing methodology, the way that you get to the result, the way that you get to the ma'luma, the fact, or the end result, essentially. The method that you would use when you're discussing a logical issue and trying to prove something logically is what we call al-hasr. Al-hasr, essentially confinement. Posing the question, taking the possible answers to that question, and confining them. What do I mean by confining them? Listing the possible answers that you can give and saying, these are the possible answers. One of the answers to the question has to be within this group that I just made right now. And there could not be a fifth one, for example, or there could not be a third one if the answers that you found are two. So it's a binary question. Confining your answers to these four, to these three, mathalan, and then starting to knock off the ones that don't work until you are left with the right one. Once you are left with one through the process of elimination, you are sure that logically the right answer must be this one. Because you can find them, first and foremost, you had yaqeen, certainty that they are confined to these. So you began with certainty. And then you had certainty that it cannot be the first three, for example. And now you are left with the last one. So you had certainty to begin with. And then you knocked off the first three or two with certainty. And now you are left with the last one. And that certainty that you began with is still there. So you are now certain that the last one has to be the right answer. Simple process of elimination. I tell you. مثلا, on earth, there are 4 primary directions. Antarctica is one of the 4, or is in one of the 4 directions relative to you. It's either north of you, south of you, east of you, or west of you. It can't be south of you for this reason. Can't be east of you for this reason. Can't be west of you for this reason. Therefore, it has to be in the north of you. You can find it to the 4. There's no 5th direction on earth. You have either north, south, west, east. There's no 5th. Can you find a 5th? No. There's no 5th whatsoever. Khalas. These 4. So you are certain it's these 4. Tayyib. You knocked off 3 of them, and you were left that it's north of you. When you knocked off the 3 of them, you were certain that it's not these 3 for X reason, whatever reason you may found, but you are certain that it's those 3. Those 3 are not the right answer. So you're left with the 4th one. This process, my brothers and sisters, the process of confinement, then the process of elimination afterwards, when you put them together, you formulate the best possible logical proof for an issue. And that's how our ulama tackle this question of marja'iyya. So we'll do the same. In the time of ghaibah, here's the question. In the time of ghaibah, how do you reach the laws that you need to implement? You have certainty. Again, we're going to use Hawzawi methods. You have certainty, yaqeen, that there's a burden on your shoulders, that you are here for a reason. You have to worship. Allah Ta'ala told you, I did not create you except to worship. Jameel, I have a burden on my shoulders. I have an obligation. How do I know what that obligation is? And how to implement my obligation, do my obligation and do it correctly, fulfill it correctly. How? The answer can be many. Let's me and you think. Either one, number 1, you go yourself to the sources and try and find the ahkam for yourself. The books are there. The Quran is here. The ahadith are here. You yourself go to the sources and try to find all of your ahkam. This is what we call ijtihad. Ijtihad. Where you yourself go to the sources and try to find your ahkam from the sources. This is what we call ijtihad. Ijtihad. Jameel. Second one, again, we're just thinking, let's see what we can come up with. The second one is you tell me, well, there are some ahkam in Islam that are obvious. Obvious. I don't need anyone to tell me them. I don't even have to search for them. Like what? Like prayer. Do you need anyone to tell you that prayer is wajib? A non-Muslim knows that Muslims pray. That's a hukum. As-salat wajibah. Salat is wajib. It's a ruling. Did you need anyone to tell you it? No. Why did you not need anyone to tell you it? Did you even have to look in the Quran to know that? No. Why? Because it's so famous. It's so obvious. Rather, it's one of the fundamentals. These things are what we call al-yaqeen at-tafsili. Al-yaqeen at-tafsili. Things that are so obvious, you have certainty of them right off the bat. 2, you did not need ijtihad. You didn't have to search for them. They were there. You already knew them. Yaqeen tafsili. Jameel. Then we have another one, which is taqleed. Essentially, me following a scholar. Me following a scholar. Me following a mujtahid. That's one of the options. Whether it's the right one, the wrong one, I don't care right now. We're just listing them. Like 3. And there's a third one. What is that? Precaution. Precaution. The opinions out there is that, for example, there's an opinion that says milk is haram. Milk is not haram. Let's just say there is an opinion that says milk is haram. And another opinion there that says milk is not haram. Therefore, what you do out of precaution is stay away from milk. You stay away from milk. For example, in a given situation, there's a chance, just a chance that this thing could be haram. You stay away from it. There's a chance that iqama before salat, saying Allahu Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, iqama. There's a chance that it's wajib before salat. You do it. You always do it. You consider it wajib because of that mere chance. Ihtiyat, precaution. So you take the most precautious route in everything. So for example, the sisters would not only wear the hijab, they would cover their face, their hands, their feet, everything. Although feet, there's no discussion about whether a woman should cover her feet or not, but there's a discussion as to whether she has to cover her hand or face and her face. You take the most precautious route. Cover everything. Then brothers, the men, there's a discussion as to whether you have to keep a full beard or you can keep a goatee. You're going to not only grow a beard, you're going to grow a caveman beard. Precaution. To the max. Precaution. You take those opinions, take the hardest route, essentially the most precautious route. Like, is there a fifth? Either you search for the laws yourself, you follow someone who searched for the laws themselves. The things that are obvious in the religion, you don't have to search for, they're already there. Or you take the most precautious route. Is there a fifth? Is there wahi, that you get inspiration from God, mathalan? There's no fifth. We confine them to these four. You yourself, if you start to think from now until tomorrow, until the end of Shahr Ramadan, until after Eid, you're not going to find a fifth, because there isn't a fifth. There isn't a fifth. Either this, or this. Khalas. We've confined them to four. We've confined the probable methods to these four. Jameel, let's start analyzing each and every one of them, me and you. Objectively analyzing. First one is ijtihad. Ijtihad. Where me and you leave our lives and go become mujtahideen. And not just me and you. Every single one of the Shia, men and women alike. We go to Najaf, we go to Qom, we all become mujtahideen. We all become mujtahids. So you have to learn in-depth Arabic, advanced Arabic. You have to learn ilm al-rijal. You have to know aqaid. You have to know some falsafa, some philosophy. You have to know mantiq, logic. You have to know ilm al-usul. You have to know ilm al-fiqh. You have to know ilm al-hadith, ilm al-diraj. Oh, there's so much that goes into it. طيب, let's think me and you. Is that logical? Where life stops for everyone and they go become mujtahideen. Once you're a mujtahid, you know how to pray, you can go back and open your business. Does that make sense? It could. طيب, how long does it take to become a mujtahid? 30 years. So life stops for 30 years. Does that make sense? No. Life can't go on. Not just life can't go on. It's impossible. Ijtihad, my brothers and sisters, ijtihad is one of the hardest things to achieve in today's world. And today, the amount of mujtahideen around the world probably don't exceed 1,000. And this is a good number, Africa. When I say 1,000, that's a very good number. And I don't want to say 100, because then I might get shoes thrown at me from even across the screen. 1,000 is a good number, and I'm being generous right now. 200 million Shias, if not 300 million Shias, out of all of them, we are only able to muster up 1,000. And that's a nice number. It's impossible. If not impossible, it's haraj, hardship that is unbearable for each and every one of us to stop our lives and go. Become mujtahideen. And Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that He does not want to put haraj on you, does not want to put hardship on you, unbearable, unthinkable hardship. Life has to go on. We need our doctors. We need our engineers. We need our soldiers. We need our teachers. Not just this. If everybody gets up and goes, there's going to be disorganization and disarray in the community. Who's going to heal the sick? Who is going to help those in need? Who is going to build homes? If everyone is just sitting in the mosques, like the mosques are breaking down, people are getting sick, diseases are being transmitted, society doesn't go on. So that one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. So we knocked off everyone becoming a mujtahid. Everyone becoming a mujtahid has been knocked off. Jamil, we have 3 left. Let's go to yaqeen tafsili. That your method is through yaqeen tafsili, having certainty about the issues of the Sharia. Well, we said al-yaqeen tafsili is for obvious things. Al-yaqeen tafsili is for obvious things. And unless you have wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't have yaqeen tafsili for everything. As in, if you want to use yaqeen tafsili, I'll tell you, okay, you can use yaqeen tafsili for the obvious things, such as Hajj. But can you tell me what to do if you doubted between the 3rd and the 4th rak'ah in salat? What is your hukm? You won't know, because you don't have yaqeen tafsili, because that's not one of the obvious issues in our Sharia. Because yaqeen tafsili is specific to the obvious things in Sharia. It cannot be used to give you all of the ahkam. I mean, if you look behind me, this book right here, that is called al-urwa al-wuthqa. That is literally, there's no theory behind any of that. That is just all yajib this. It's haram to do this. It's wajib to do this. It's haram to do this. Makruh to do this. Al-urwa al-wuthqa. Minhaj al-salihin is 3 volumes. These are all ahkam. Out of those 3 volumes, maybe, there's half a page of things that are considered yaqeen tafsili, which are the obvious things in our Sharia. Yaqeen tafsili doesn't work. Jameel, put yaqeen tafsili aside. What about ihtiyat? Let's veer away as much as we can from taqleed. We don't want to do taqleed. I don't want to do taqleed. I don't want to do taqleed. I want to do something other than taqleed. Ihtiyat. Precaution. Precaution is a good route, because essentially taking all of the different opinions and finding the hardest one. So it's a good route. Not just a good route. It could be one of the best routes, because you're sure all the time that you're not doing anything haram. And you're sure all the time you're doing your wajib. Makes sense. Problem. Well, here's the problem. What if you can't do ihtiyat? What do you mean? Let's say you have an opinion out there that Salat al-Jum'ah is wajib, and an opinion out there that Salat al-Jum'ah is haram. Find me the ihtiyat. Where's the precautious route? Al-amr ad-da'ir bayna mahdhurayn. This is what some of the ulama they say. Al-amr ad-da'ir bayna mahdhurayn. The 2 ends of the issue are haram and wajib. Find me the ihtiyat. Like, if you do it because it's wajib, you did ihtiyat in accordance to someone else's opinion. You stay away from it, you did haram on the other hand because it was wajib according to this. Has this happened in history? Is this purely hypothetical? If it was just purely hypothetical, then that is enough for us to cross off ihtiyat. What if I told you this happened in history? This has happened in history. Where? In Salat al-Jum'ah. For Salat al-Jum'ah. Today's Friday, yes? For Salat al-Jum'ah. There are ulama that said it's wajib. And there are ulama that said it's haram. طيب, why? One alim said, Allah Ta'ala says it in the Quran. It's clear in the Quran. Another alim said in the time of ghaiba, it's haram to do it. طيب, what do I do? I want to do ihtiyat. What do I do? He says it's haram. He says it's wajib. What do I do? There's no path. And sometimes ihtiyat in one direction goes against another ihtiyat in another direction. How? I'll give you an example. Out of ihtiyat, you should pray. Your salat, all of it in the time period, in the allotted time period. So salat al-dhuhr is from 1 to 9. You have to pray it between 1 and 9. Essentially, you have to start your salat after 1, and you have to end it before 9. That's ihtiyat. Jameel. Let's say you, mathalan, you did not pray up until it was 8:58, 2 minutes before the end of Salat al-Dhuhr. 2 minutes before the end of Salat. Okay, no problem. You want to get up and pray. You have 2 minutes to pray. Yes? One opinion is that you have to pray Salat al-Dhuhr in the allotted time period. Salat al-Dhuhr must be prayed first. That's one opinion. Another opinion says that the last 4 or 5 minutes before the end of Maghrib is specific to Salat al-Asr. One opinion tells you have to pray in that time period. In that 2 minutes, you have to pray Salat al-Asr. Another opinion tells you have to pray Salat al-Dhuhr. Find me the way of ihtiyat. Ihtiyat, essentially, we'd be praying them both. Like, how do you do ihtiyat? One opinion is that for this time, you have to pray Salat al-Dhuhr. And you cannot pray Salat al-Asr without praying Salat al-Dhuhr. Another opinion is what? In the last 4 minutes, before the Maghrib time, you have to pray Salat al-Asr. You can't pray Salat al-Dhuhr in that time period. And this is one of the fatwa of Sayed Shabeer of that opinion. The last 4 or 5 minutes, the time that it takes you to pray Salat al-Asr, that time is specific to Salat al-Asr. You cannot pray Salat al-Dhuhr in that time period. Like, what do you do? Find me the path of ihtiyat. The path of ihtiyat would essentially be praying them both. Like, you can't do that. It's impossible to do it. Like, you have 4 minutes. You have 3 minutes, mathala. What do you pray? Asr or Dhuhr? You pray Asr, you go against ihtiyat from another side. You pray Dhuhr, you went against ihtiyat from another side. Like, what do you do? Ihtiyat, precaution is a great thing. The riwayat are very clear. The ihtiyat, person who does ihtiyat is closer to taqwa, it's closer to righteousness. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, from my memory, is the one that says al-ihtiyat aqrabu lit-taqwa. Like, if ihtiyat is aqrab lit-taqwa, why don't we do it? Because in some cases it's impossible. In some cases it's impossible. Like, so you knocked off ihtiyat, what's left? Taqleed. And you can find them in the 4. You can find them to these 4. Knocked off these 3 through certainty. Therefore, the last one has to be the more logical one, the most logical one through certainty. Not just the most logical one, it's the most practical one. It's the most practical one, my brothers and sisters. It's logical and it's human nature for the human being that is ignorant to go back to the knowledgeable one. It's human nature. Your car broke down. Do you take it to Ahmad Bazzi? You take it to Ahmad Bazzi, he's going to blow up your car. I don't know what to do with your car. And I'll tell you, it's haram or halal to drive. I don't know what to do other than that. What you're going to have to do is take it to a mechanic. You don't take it to a doctor. You take it to a mechanic. You don't take it to a sheikh. It's human nature to do that, to refer to those that are more knowledgeable than you. And not just refer to them, not ask them why. How many of us have taken our car to a mechanic that we trust? Leave the car there, tell him, hey, listen, fix my car. I'm going to go and I'm going to come back. I want it to be done. And afterwards, just charge me, whatever it charges me. You come back, he tells you, well, that was $120. Here you go, drive your car, go away. You didn't know what he did. He could have taken out the engine, swapped it with another engine, and you don't know what he did. Khalas, nothing. But you trust him. You don't ask him what he did and why. All you know is now my car works. You go to a doctor. Well, I have pain in my right side. He gives you a pill. Here you go. Do you tell him what the pill does? Do you ask him what the pill does? Or her? Do you ask him or her what the pill does? Do you ask them how it works? Do you ask them the side effects that are not going to be harmful to you? The side effects, or how these side effects come about? You'll ask them, what are the side effects that I need to watch out for? How they come about, how they affect the homeostasis of your body and this and that. Who cares? Doesn't matter. This person knows their craft. Let them tell you what to do. They know their craft. If you ask them for a proof, they'll sit you down and be like, come listen, I'll tell you, I'll show you the proof. They don't have to do it. Not just this, and even if they showed it to you, you won't understand it. You won't understand it. Astaghfirullah saying this. I'm a nobody. I'm nothing. Alhamdulillah, I've been in Hawza for some time. If you tell me, pick up this book called Mabani al-Minhaj and start reading it and explaining it to me, I wouldn't even understand what's being said in there. I'll be honest with you. It's very straightforward. I wouldn't understand what is being said. The level of our maraja, of the expert, is so high that even if he tried to tell you, or she tried to tell you, why the hukum is this way, the mujtahid, they tried to tell you, you wouldn't be able to understand it anyway. So that's why we take without asking the reason why. And that's why you find in the ahkam books, it just says ruling 1, ruling 2, ruling 3. It doesn't tell you, qala as-sadiq. Just says, here's the ruling, take it and go. Jameel. Do we have a hadith to support our claim? 100% we have a hadith to support our claim. First one, let me put them out there for you. Let me present them to you. First one, قول الصادق عليه السلام in وسائل الشيعة, volume 19. قول الصادق لأبان ابن تغلب or تغلب قال اجلس في المسجد في مسجد المدينة وأفتي الناس فإني أحب أن أرى في شيعتي مثلك. What is he saying? He tells Abban, one of the companions of Imam al-Sadiq, he says, go sit in Masjid al-Madinah and give fatawa to people. Give them their fatawa. For I love to see the likes of you in my Shia. The word what? Fatwa. Some people think that we created these things in the last 400 or 500 years. Those that are against Marja'iyya. Oh, these were ideas that you guys created. You know. Hadith Imam al-Sadiq, aftin nas. Give fatawa to the people. Jameel. Second, قول الإمام الرضا. This hadith is found in وسائل الشيعة and تهذيب الأحكام. قول الإمام الرضا لعبد العزيز المهتدي. عبد العزيز المهتدي is asking Imam al-Rida. عندما سأله, عبد العزيز says to Imam al-Rida, إني لا ألقاك في كل وقت. It's like me and you talking to him. He's asking the question that me and you want to ask Sahib al-Asr. What does he say? I don't see you in every moment, every time. I don't see you all the time. I live in a different city. You live in you live in Mashhad. I live in Windsor, Ontario. Huh? إني لا ألقاك في كل وقت. فممن آخذ معالم ديني. Who do I take? Who do I take my religion from? قال عليه السلام. Imam Rada responds. He says, خذ عن يونس بن عبد الرحمن. Take from Yunus ibn Abd al-Rahman, one of the companions of the Imam. He referred him to one of the companions. So take from him. Take your religion from him. Take your ahkam from him. He referred him to a marja. Language is extremely important. What is the word marja? Comes from the word raja'a. Raja'a means to return to. Essentially, the Imam told him, return to Yunus ibn Abd al-Rahman. For Yunus ibn Abd al-Rahman is your marja. It's the one you refer back to. The concept of marja'iyya was not created 500, 600 years ago. Imam al-Sadiq, Imam Rida alayhi salam, tells this person, al-Muhtadi, tells him, go take from this person, for he is your marja. Jameel. And from this riwayah, you can see how even marja'iyya and some of its fragments could be at the time of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Could be in some ways at the time of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Obviously, not in the way that we have it today, as the system will be a little bit different. Why? Because you have the source of the ahkam standing in front of you. So you ask him, and that's it. Ask him, what is my hukum? And then he'll give it to you. But let's say Imam al-Mehdi is living in Kufa, which will be his capital, inshallah ta'ala. So I'm living here in Windsor. I mean, I can't really call up the Imam and be like, Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi Mawlai, what do I do here? So I'm going to go ask one of the wukala, one of the representatives of the Imam in the city. Hey, what do I do? Tells you, or he tells me, pray like this. Do I ask him, قال الصادق or قال الإمام الرضا? What's your hadith? You just take and go. That's a marja. That is your marja. Yes, he's taking it from the Imam, but essentially you went back to him. You returned to him. You never returned to the Imam directly. You took it from him. He returned back to the Imam directly. So you returned to the Imam indirectly. When I return to the marja, who am I returning to indirectly? The Imam, because he's going back to the hadiths. So the idea of marja'iyya is not going to be abolished totally after the coming of the Imam. No. Fragments of it could very well be. I'm not saying 100% because I don't have a hadith to support and say at the time of the Imam, this will happen. I'm not saying this. I'm saying, can marja'iyya and some of its fragments exist at the time of Sahib al-Amri wa Zaman? Absolutely. Lastly. وجاء في معتبرة داود بن الحسين. This is also in تهذيب الأحكام. عن أبي عبد الله الصادق عن الإمام الصادق. في رجلين اتفقا على عدلين جعلاهما بينهما في حكم وقع بينهما فيه خلاف. This individual, Dawood ibn al-Husayn, is speaking to Imam al-Sadiq and he's saying, I have a situation here. I have two individuals that are discussing a certain matter and they're in conflict on that matter. Matter of house, matter of a wife, a matter of land, whatever it may be. They're in conflict on this issue. So they have a disagreement. فَرَضِيَا بِعَدْلَيْنِ. So they both of them, they find two just individuals to more or less pass judgment. جميل. فاختلف العدلان بينهما. Both of those two just individuals, they came up with different opinions. One said, this person is the one that's right. The other one said, no, this one is right. The land belongs to him. The other one said, the land belongs to him. جميل. فاختلف العدلان بينهما عن قول أيهما يمضي الحكم. Which one does the ruling go with? قال عليه السلام. And Imam answers, ينظر إلى أفقههما وأعلمهما بأحاديثنا وأروعهما فينفذ حكمه ولا يلتفت إلى الآخر. Find the most knowledgeable of the two. Find the one that knows our ahadith the most out of both of them, and find the more pious of the two. Take his ruling and ask for the other one. Don't even look at it. Don't even look at the other opinion. Which is the fundamental base rule, golden rule of marja'iyah. Follow the most knowledgeable scholar. Why? Because they're the one that are going to get you closer to the real hukum. إصابة الواقع. Them actually getting it right is a higher possibility. There's a higher possibility that they are going to have إصابة الواقع. They're going to reach the real hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you find, my brothers and sisters, in Hadith Ahl al-Bayt, and this is just 3, there's more. In Hadith Ahl al-Bayt, the idea of marja'iyah is not just present. It's something that the Imams alayhimus salam worked by. Rather, not just worked by. The system that the Imam alayhi salam had to communicate and give the lesson, to teach the people what they need to know about their religion was through marja'iyah in one way or another. Every ruler has some sort of system that they follow to inform their subjects, to make known what they want the people to be known, to rule over the people essentially. Even in a household, the father of the household, the mother of the household, whoever the authority figure is in the household, they have a system within a household of 5 or 6 people. A CEO has a method, has a system in which they release information, spread information, and establish their rule within the company. The Imams ﷺ had a system. It wasn't just follow this guy وخلصنا. There was a system that the Imams ﷺ had. They had representatives. They had people that represented them in the different places. They had people that were there for the Shiites to refer back to. There was a system in place. And that system, in its reality, superficially from the outside, without going into the details of that system, outside, it screams marja'iyah. It is marja'iyah. So when we have maraja today, it's not something that we created. Not something that me and you sat down and said, hey, what do we do? The Imams ﷺ established the system, and we took it and ran with it, which is exactly what our Imams ﷺ want from us, inshallah ta'ala, in this time period. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. أسأله تعالى يعفو عنا ويغفر لنا ويرحمنا إنه نعم المولى ونعم النصير وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين.